A win over Oklahoma State does a lot of things for the Arizona State Sun Devils football program, and we're going to talk about all of them on this edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. As always, thanks for tuning in. Wherever you get your podcast, hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you get an update whenever we post new content. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day, and a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Wherever you get your podcasts, you know what to do at this point, especially because I just told you. And if you want to stay in touch with our content, you can follow me on Twitter at RichieBrads36 and the podcast as well at LO_Sun Devils. This episode is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. There is a lot of things that a win over Oklahoma State football would do for your program. There's a lot of very positive things, obviously. That's what we're here to talk about on this episode. If you're on YouTube, you can see on the right-hand side of your screen a little checklist of 3 things that we're going to talk about. There potentially could be some other stuff that I'm going to throw in there, but those are the main 3 components that would factor into a win here. So we'll go ahead and start off with it establishes some validity to the program. And don't get me wrong, this isn't like you win this game and like, oh, ASU's a conference contender. ASU's a playoff contender. No. That's not what we mean. What I mean when I say that a win establishes some kind of validity is that this would be a really good win for Arizona State because it's over a Power 5 opponent, and it's also over a team that beat you last year. It's also a home game. There's so many different little factors that go into this game that help to establish some validity for the team. You look at beating a team like Oklahoma State that has been consistently one of the best teams in the Big 12, has consistently been a ranked team. They have had very good football teams. Obviously goes with the territory of being ranked, but they've had very good teams over the last few years. They've had teams that have won 10 games. They've had teams that have gone to significant bowl games, 10-win teams. And you've had very, very talented players that have rolled in, like Justin Blackman and Spencer Sanders, Justice Hill, Emmanuel Agba. That's just off the top of my head. Justin Gilbert was his name, the corner. You've had a lot of very talented players over the last 10 plus years that have helped to establish this program as one of the best. And obviously, Mike Gundy has been there for a long time as their head coach. He's one of the alma maters there. He played quarterback for the Cowboys way back when. There's a lot that you look at with Oklahoma State that just screams, what's the word I'm looking for? Consistency in college football. But again, this is a very quality football program. And sure, they're maybe not going to be as good this year as they have been in previous years because they did barely beat their week 1 opponent, who off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure who it was that they beat, but nonetheless, Central Arkansas, and they won 27-13, but it was a very ugly win for them. Point is, though, even if this team isn't as good this year as they have been in previous years, I wouldn't call it a blue blood program, but it's a very, very well-respected program. Teams look at Oklahoma State, programs look at Oklahoma State, recruits look at Oklahoma State as a place where you can create a career for yourself collegiately or maybe to the next level. Oklahoma State has a lot of respect to it, as I have said. There's a lot of mutual respect between their rivals in the Big 12, but also just across the country. They're not necessarily college football playoff contenders. They've had a couple of teams that have challenged for that. I know 2 years ago, they potentially could have gotten in if they had beaten Baylor in their Big 12 championship game, but that did not happen. They have had some very good teams. And while this team may not be as good as previous iterations of the program, you were still getting yourself a very quality win. So for Arizona State, you look at the new Kenny Dillingham era, right? They're looking for their first big win. And week 2 rolls around of the first year of Kenny Dillingham, and here's your opportunity. Here's your chance to get that first big win of the program under Kenny Dillingham. Like it's not, you don't look at this as like the win, right? This isn't like the game that you're like, holy cow, Kenny Dillingham has arrived. It's not necessarily that. It's not like if you were to beat USC or Oregon or Utah, that would be like your, oh, wow, maybe Kenny Dillingham's the real deal kind of thing. But it's still a really important game for Dillingham. It's maybe your first benchmark game. Again, it's so early on that it's hard to fully establish some kind of like label to it. But the best label that you can give it is it establishes some validity. It gives you a Power 5 win. It gives you a out of conference win, a future rival win, which we'll get into in just a moment here. But it's a very quality win for Kenny Dillingham. And I think that's the most important thing that you're looking for right now is that first quality win for this program that kind of makes other teams and other programs and other coaches and players and recruits notice you, and they're like, wow, first year of Kenny Dillingham, and they took down Oklahoma State, who normally is a very good program. Sure, this isn't the best Oklahoma State team. I mean, as of right now, they could end the year with an 11-win season or a 10-win season, but cross that bridge when you get to it. In the meantime, this is still a very quality football win for you. And getting that first win in the Kenny Dillingham era over a Power 5 team, very, very important to do. Hopefully, they'll be able to accomplish that this week. But again, the bottom line, this is a very good program. This is a very good opportunity to get your first staple win of the Kenny Dillingham era. I'm here for it. And look, if you're a small business and you're looking to make that potential big time hire, you need to use LinkedIn Jobs because honestly, getting that hire can feel like a high stakes wager for your small business. And you want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you need to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. You can do this in minutes and set up your job posting. And once you do that, add the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on the candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. And as you know, as a small business, getting that right team member can have a positive and immeasurable impact on your business. It's why LinkedIn Jobs is ranked #1 in delivering quality hires over their leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions will apply. Into our conversation once again, but first, wherever you get your podcast, hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you get an update when we post new content Monday through Friday for free. Next up, it's your first big win. This kind of plays into that establishing that validity, right? This is kind of like it goes hand in hand with each other. Like it's your first win that kind of establishes the Kenny Dillingham era, but you could also use it as like this is a big win for the program because week 1 you did beat Southern Utah, but even if you blew them out, right? Because you won 27-24. Even if you blew out Southern Utah like 40-3, it's not necessarily a big win for the team. But beating Oklahoma State could be a big win for the team, especially like if we get that hindsight and like we find out that by the end of the 2023 season, Oklahoma State's like a 9-win or even a 10-win football team. And then you look back and it's like, wow, ASU beat them when they were at the beginning of the season and they were still trying to figure themselves out. Like ASU was able to get that win. Like that could potentially look like a big time win for you. But you also have the opportunity to get your first Big 12 win. Obviously, it's not like your first ever. ASU has played Big 12 teams plenty of times over the history of their program. Wins and losses. It's happened before. But you're going to the Big 12 next year, right? So, in one sense, it's like this is maybe that win that helps you to gain that confidence to be able to move forward into Big 12 play. That's happening next year. Like, this is going to be a very quick process. We announced that we're leaving about 2 months ago, the Pac 12, and you're already going to be in a new conference in less than a year. Like, by the time the season rolls around, you're going to, or finishes up, you're going to be starting to prepare yourself and get ready for that next step, which is going to be that Big 12 competition. And there's a lot of good teams in there. Oklahoma State is one of them. So that'd be a pretty good win to start. But you've got Baylor, you've got TCU, you've got Texas Tech. There's Houston, Central Florida, Cincinnati, BYU, Arizona, Utah, Colorado. There's a lot of quality teams that are going to be in the Big 12. So for Arizona State, they're going to want to find a way to separate themselves, right? Or not even so much separate themselves, because really a win over Oklahoma State, whether it's 50-0 or it's 24-27 again, this isn't necessarily like your landmark win heading into the Big 12. If you were to beat I don't know, like a Texas or an Oklahoma kind of thing, maybe that is. But beating Oklahoma State, just like the first point I made, still establishes some validity to the program. And it does establish that, hey, this is a team that is capable of winning against really good teams. Like, it's not just the Southern Utahs that they can beat, it's also the Oklahoma States that they can beat. And then whatever else you're able to scrum together throughout the year. This is your first big win in the Kenny Dillingham era against Oklahoma State, but it's also the first like Big 12 win for Arizona State. Not officially in the Big 12 conference, but under Kenny Dillingham, this would be your first Big 12 win. And this would hopefully begin to establish a path and kind of pave that way forward for Kenny Dillingham to gain that confidence, for this program to gain that confidence heading into their into their final season of the Pac-12 and heading into their new future in the Big 12. This is that first chance, that first opportunity that Kenny Dillingham could potentially seize here to be able to get the program ready to go for an uptick in competition and just a brand new change of scenery in general. This is that game that hopefully gets you to that point. Look, buying tickets to your favorite events, it shouldn't be stressful. And GameTime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all your favorite sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guaranteed, you can stop stressing over getting those tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you're going to have. Honestly, there's so many different things that I love about GameTime, like the flash deals and last-minute tickets that you can get. It's easy to find and buy tickets for every event in your area with images of the seat views, so you can make sure that you want to sit where you want to sit with a view that fits for you. With the lowest price guaranteed, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and more, this is absolutely the best experience that you're going to be able to get. You can forget about planning for months in advance because they've got tickets right up until the day of the event with those flash deals for any event you can think of. And that best price guarantee means that if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference with that aforementioned image of the seats before you get it. It's perfect. You can buy your tickets in a matter of seconds. It's 2 taps and you're done, and the tickets are sent straight to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. One more time, wherever you're getting your podcast, like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. This is a win that establishes validity. This is a win that gives you your first Big 12 win in the Kenny Dillingham era. But perhaps biggest and most importantly at all, this is such a confidence booster for your program. And let me explain, because there's a lot of ways that this boosts your confidence. The first and most obvious is what we've been talking about the whole time. It's a Power 5 team. Getting a win over a Power 5 team is always a feel-good moment for you, especially in a season where you're coming off 3 wins and you're coming in with a new direction. You're coming in with a new head coach, a new regime, a new philosophy, a new culture. There's a lot of changes to the Sun Devils team, and you're looking for something that helps establish that confidence level for you. This is that first game that can really bring that kind of confidence for you. Beating an Oklahoma State, that's going to do a lot for your team. It helps these kids, it helps these coaches, it helps the fans to buy in and say, wow, first year Kenny Dillingham, we're already beating Power 5 teams. Wow, first year Kenny Dillingham, we're already at 2 wins. We had 3 last year. Think about that for a second. ASU won 3 games last year. They won against NAU, they won against Washington, and they won against Colorado. They are still looking to reassert themselves and get back on the winning track. And beating Oklahoma State is one of the ways that you do that. It starts instilling that confidence in these kids. And suddenly, these 18-year-old kids, these 20-year-old kids, these 22-year-old kids look at Arizona State and they look at their team and they sit there after they have bought in all offseason. These guys have worked their tails off and they have put in all the time and all the effort to prove that this is going to be a team that's going to rebound sooner rather than later. Suddenly you get this win, and these kids, they look at the work that they put in and they go, it was worth it. They look and they say, I knew that we were doing this for a reason. They understand and they believe and they buy in that everything that they have worked so hard for during the offseason was worth it, because this is their first win. You look at the coaching staff, it's the same thing. You look at all the effort that they put into to build this roster up through the transfer portal, through the recruiting class, and even just building up these kids that are returning from last year. And now the coaches look at it and they go, yeah, look at all of our hard work that is paying off for us. We are reaping the benefits of everything that we put into this. This does a lot for Kenny Dillingham as well. But perhaps more than anything, you look at a fan base that I won't call Sun Devil fans entitled, but I will say that they're very fickle. When we're winning, ASU is the talk of the town. When they're winning football games, that is the event to go to. But when they're not, stands are empty. Student section doesn't fill out as much. People don't want to spend their hard-earned cash to go to a football game. And to a certain extent, don't blame you. 100% understand that that's just the nature of sports. Is why would I want to invest in a team that simply is not going to win a lot of football games? Totally understand. But now you are winning football games, right? You are winning football games. You're already 2 wins compared to last year. You had 3. And you have an established win. Last year it was Washington. This year, in 2 weeks, you've already beat Oklahoma State. That right there, that is what really starts to separate this season from last year. Is that in 2 weeks, you have already gotten a crucial victory and you start to be able to move forward. That's where you stand with this kind of game. It instills the confidence in the players. It instills the confidence in the coaching staff. It instills confidence in the fan base. And when everyone's bought in, this is, as many people have described it, a sleeping giant. Arizona State Sun Devils football is waiting for its opportunity. Who's to say it's not here? And look, I'll close with this. If you don't win, no one's expecting you to win. If you don't win, find some stuff from the game to take and move forward with. Find the positives. You did this well. You did this well. You did that well. Player A, B, C, and D were able to stand out. They had good games. Players E, F, G, H. I had to remember my alphabet. They have some stuff that they could potentially build upon. Players X, Y, Z. We're looking to continue to build forward with them. Find some stuff to take away from this game. Win or lose. Find the positives to take and move forward with. But again, with the title of this video being what a win would do, it does a lot. It's your first key victory of the Kenny Dillingham era. It's the first Big 12 win of the Kenny Dillingham era. It's his first signature win. But more importantly, and most importantly, above everything else, this is the kind of win that gets you the confidence. This is the kind of win that helps you activate the Valley. Suddenly you have people that want to go to the football games because it's like, well, they're good. Why wouldn't I want to see? Why wouldn't I want to see Jaden Rashada, the freshman quarterback sensation, play for Arizona State? Why wouldn't I want to see a defense that is actually playing better than they did last year? Look at the weapons on offense. I want to see Jalen Conyers live. I want to see Xavier Guillory. I want to see Cameron Scadaboo. I want to see Elijah Badger. Suddenly, everyone's bought in because you found a way to get that key crucial victory that brings you that confidence. These are all the things that culminate together to be able to get people to buy in. This is what a win against Oklahoma State does. Do you guys think that we're going to beat Oklahoma State? What does this win do for you personally if they win this game? Let me know in the comments, or you can hit me up on Twitter at RichieBrads36 or the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. But again, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. And of course, thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Wherever you get those podcasts, hit like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you get an update whenever we post new content. And again, turn on those notifications. I will see you guys tomorrow as we do our final game preview. Until then, keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.